student, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's start with the third video from the lesson number 3. Journey to the End of the Earth, written by Tishani Doshi. But before talking about the third video, let me tell you something about our previous two videos. In the first video, we were talking about the history of Antarctica. What is that? See, Tishani Doshi said that I got an opportunity to award in Russian research vessel academic Microscopic, which was heading toward the coldest, driest and windiest continent of the world. Yes, Antarctica actually. She said that I started my journey from the Madras and I traveled more than 100 hours in combination of car, aeroplane and ship when I actually set my foot on the area of Antarctica. I was in shock to see the expansive white landscape of Antarctica. Around 650 million years ago, there was a big amalgamated giant southern supercontinent Gondwana that was in existence. That was roughly around present day Antarctica. Things were quite different. Human hadn't arrived on the global scene. Climate was much warmer. There were different kind of flora and fauna. For 500 million years, Antarctica was flourishing, and it was the time when dinosaur wiped out, woolly rhinos wiped out, mammal got underway, and the globe took the present shape to this world. And today when we visit the Antarctica, it is just to understand that where we have come from and where possibly we are going, and to understand the significance of the Calderian food, and to understand the significance of Precambrian granite shield, ozone layers, its extinction and evolution, and to understand that how Himalaya formed and how drag passes created and why, and how Antarctica remained at the bottom of the world. Antarctica is a place where visual scale is microscopic to the mighty one, right? The prognosis about this place is not good for human according to the geology of this place, right? In the second video, I was talking about the increasing population. Increasing population is the biggest factor to exploiting so many natural resources. Not only that, but also unmitigated use of burning of fossil fuel, which is increasing the global temperature, right? Slowly, but definitely it is a great threat to the humankind. Climate change is one of the biggest issue present today. Students on ICE, the program I was working with on Microscopic, aims to taking high school students to the end of the world and providing them inspiring educational opportunities so that they can foster new understanding about their planet and respect for their own planet. Canadian Geoff Green was heading this mission. He was fed up with those rich people, retired people, curiosity seekers, because they were the people who give little back to the earth. So giving this opportunity to these high school students means that they will make new policies, good policies in the future to save this earth, to this Antarctica and our environment. And in that age, when they are ready to absorb, to learn, and most importantly act. See, climate change is biggest issue today. Whenever issue of climate change came in our mind, right, Antarctica is the only place which offer this opportunity to study and to know the earth past, present and future. Antarctica has simple ecosystem. It lacks biodiversity, but it offers the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. For example, microscopic phytoplankton. These are single cell grass which nourish and which sustain the whole southern marine animals food chain. They use the sun's energy to assimilate the carbon, right? जिसको हम photosynthesis कहते हैं, बड़े wondrous तरीके से sun's की energy को लेता है, right? And that way it is nourishing the whole food chain of this area. Scientists said that further depletion of the ozone will affect, which in turn will affect the animal of this region and the bird of this region and the global carbon cycle as well. So dear student, take care of the small things, big things will take place itself. Now come with me to the third video.
Walk on the ocean. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. मेरा अंटार्कटिका का अनुभव was full of दिव्यमान था. But the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. परंतु सबसे अच्छा अंटार्कटिक सर्कल से थोड़ा नीचे 65.5 डिग्री दक्षिण में हुआ. The Sikorsky had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, right? Sikorsky प्रायद्वीप, राइट, पेनिनसुला एंड टैडफॉल द्वीप के बीच गहरी मोटी थिक सफेद बर्फ में प्रवेश कर गई थी. ऑलराइट, विच वॉज प्रिवेंटिंग अस फ्रॉम गोइंग एनी फर्दर, राइट, जो हमें आगे जाने से रोक रही थी. द कैप्टन डिसाइडेड वी वर गोइंग टू टर्न अराउंड and head back north, but before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. But here captain decided कि हम मुड़कर वापस उत्तर की ओर बढ़ेंगे. But before we did, लेकिन हमारे ऐसा करने से पहले हम सबको पुल से गैंगप्लैंक से उतरकर महासागर पर चलने का आदेश दिया गया. So there we were all 52 of us. इसलिए हम सभी 52 व्यक्ति kitted out in Gore-Tex and glass चौकंत व्हाइटनेस से बचने वाले चश्मे पहनकर वॉकिंग ऑन स्टार्क व्हाइटनेस और अनंत सफेदी पर चल रहे थे. दैट सीम टू स्प्रेड आउट फॉरएवर, जो वहां पर अनंत बिछी हुई फैली हुई प्रतीत हो रही थी. अंडरनीथ आवर फीट, हमारे पांव के नीचे, वॉज ए मीटर थिक, 1 मीटर मोटी आइस की परत थी. एंड अंडरनीथ दैट, और उसके नीचे 180 मीटर्स, 180 मीटर गहरी, राइट, ऑफ लिविंग, जीवित, राइट, तो ब्रीदिंग, सांस लेता हुआ सॉल्ट वाटर, नमकीन पानी था. इन द पैराफ्री क्रीवेटर सील्स वॉज स्ट्रेचिंग, बाह्य परिधि में क्रीवेटर सील्स वॉज स्ट्रेचिंग एंड सनिंग देमसेल्फ ऑन आइस फ्लोस. आइस फ्लोस हियर मींस द बर्फ की तैरती चादरों के ऊपर क्रीवेटर इस तरह से लेटी हुई थी. एंड सनिंग देमसेल्फ, कि अपने आप को धूप में सुखा रही थी, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree, जिस तरह से आवारा कुत्ते बट वृक्ष की छाया में लेटे होते हैं. It was nothing short of revelation, ये किसी रहस्य उद्घाटन से कम नहीं था. Everything doesn't it connect, right? Everything was very much connected with each other. सभी चीजें वास्तव में एक दूसरे से संबंधित थी. 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water and many ecosphere. Later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. See, 9 time zone, 6 चौकिया, 3 जल पिंडों और कई इकोस्फेयर पार करने के बाद मैं हैरान होकर अपने प्लैनेट की संतुलन की सुंदरता के बारे में सोच रहा था. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? तब क्या होगा अगर अंटार्कटिका पहले की तरह गर्म हो जाए जैसे कभी हुआ करता था? Will we be around to see it? क्या हम इसे देखने के लिए होंगे? Would we have gone the way of the dinosaur, mammoths and woolly rhinos? क्या हम भी डायनासोर, विशाल मनमोस हाथियों या फिर ऊनी गैंडों की भांति समाप्त हो जाएंगे? Who is to say, right? इस बारे में कौन जाने, कौन कहे. But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers, परंतु टीनेजर के दल के साथ, ग्रुप के साथ 2 सप्ताह बिताने के पश्चात, who still have the idealism to save the world, कि जिनके मन में अभी भी इस संसार को बचाने का आदर्श है. All I can say that a lot can happen in a million years, कि 1 मिलियन में या 10 लाख वर्षों में बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. But what a difference a day makes, परंतु एक दिन भी कितना अंतर डाल सकता है. That's it, dear student. That was your lesson number 3, Journey to the End of the Earth, written by Tishani Doshi. I hope you understood all about this lesson, because this is very informative, very knowledgeable, and this is the lesson which guide us and which direct us that really global warming is a real threat to all of us. So choice is yours. Let's come with me. Now we are going to discuss some questions from this lessons to more about this lesson. What does the author mean by journey to the end of the earth? See, the author means that the journey to Antarctica was nothing but a journey with the end of the earth. One is wonderstruck at the immensity and isolation of Antarctica. There are no human signs. There are no trees, billboards, or buildings. One loses all earthly sense of time. Days go on and on for 24 hours. There is silence all around. There are icebergs as big as countries. How do geological phenomena help us to know about the history of the mankind? Geological phenomena help us to know where we have come from and where we are heading to. They tell us how the different continents were formed, how Himalaya formed, how India formed, how drag passes created, how Antarctica remained at the bottom of the world, and the melting of the ice caps tells us where we are heading to. Dear student, if the same question came for 5, 8 and 10 marks, so you should introduce the historical part of Antarctica. Alright. What are the indications for the future of humankind? This is very important question. The indications for the future of humankind are not good. The population has increased tremendously. Global temperature is rising continuously. As a result, polar ice caps will start melting. The danger of floods will be real. We have greatly depleted our natural resources. We are exploiting our natural resources more than our need, right? Unmitigated burning of the fossil fuel, which is increasing the global temperature. This is really a great threat. These indications may bring the end of the world, but we must not lose hope. If so much bad has happened in a short time, much more good can happen within an equal period. How do the microscopic phytoplankton, right, grasses of the sea actually, nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain? The microscopic phytoplanktons are single-celled plants. They assimilate carbon and synthesizes organic compounds by the process of photosynthesis using sun's energy. In this way, these grasses of the sea nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. The word geological history is trapped in Antarctica. How is the study of this region useful to us? Around present-day Antarctica, there existed a giant supercontinent Gondwana around 650 million years ago. Things were quite different. Human hadn't arrived on the global scene. Climate was much warmer. A huge variety of plants and animals were there. Gondwana flourished for 500 million years. But around the time when dinosaurs were wiped out and mammals appeared on the scene, geological changes took place. Land mass was separated into smaller parts known as countries, shaping the globe as at present. Thus, the word geological history is trapped in Antarctica. To visit Antarctica now is to understand where we have come from and where we are heading to. Here we can understand the significance of Cordilleran folds and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon, evolution and extinctions. In 1 million years, India pushed northwards and got stuck against Asia. The Himalayas were formed. South America drifted off to join North America, opening up the drag passes to create a cold current around the poles and keeping Antarctica cold and desolate and at the bottom of the world. This is all mind confusing. Thus, the study of this region is very useful to us. Here, we can study the effect of climate change like global warming and depletion of ozone layers. Because of its simple ecosystem, the lack of biodiversity, Antarctica is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. What are Green Jobs' reason for including high school students in the Students on Ice expedition? The Students on Ice expedition was headed by Job Green of Canada. It aimed at studying and examining the Earth's past, present, and future. It included high school students to provide them with inspiring educational opportunities which could develop in them a new understanding and respect for the planet Earth. Actually, Joe Green had got tired to courting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who could not fulfill Green's expectations. High school students constituted the future generation of policymakers. The expedition could offer them a life-changing experience because at their age, they were ready to absorb, learn, and act. Right? They were teenagers who were inspired by the idealism to save the world. They are full of energy and are ready to do much in these directions. So, Geoff Green included high school students in the Students on Ice expedition. Take care of the small things and the big things will take care of themselves. What is the relevance of this statement in the context of the Antarctic environment? The threat of global warming is real, but sitting here in our homes, we are not able to realize it. If we go to the Antarctica, we can see with our ice glaciers retreating and ice caps collapsing. Then we begin to realize that this threat is very real. Antarctica's ecosystem is very simple. It lacks biodiversity, but it offers the perfect place to study that how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. To study this effect, let us take the example of phytoplanktons. These are single-celled microscopic grasses of the sea. They nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. These plants assimilate carbon in the presence of sunlight and form organic compounds by the process of photosynthesis. Scientists have already warned that a further depletion of ozone layer will affect the activity and the formation of organic compounds, right? Which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and the world of the region and the global carbon cycle. So, if we take care of small things like phytoplankton, the big things like the global carbon cycle will take care of themselves, right? If we take care of phytoplankton, all marine life of the southern ocean will take care of itself, right? You can see the relevance of this statement with this. Why is Antarctica the place to go to understand the Earth's past, present, and future? The study of Antarctica can tell us how our globe took its present-day shape. It can tell us how there was a time when India and South America used to be a part of the southern supercontinent Gondwana. Then, about 1,000,000 years ago, India pushed northward and jammed against Asia, its crust buckled and formed the Himalayas. South America drifted off to join North America. The study of Antarctica also tells us that it is the only place in the world that never had any human population. It remains relatively pristine in this respect. Right? It has in its ice cores 500,000 years old carbon records. They are all trapped in its layers of ice. Thus, if we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present, and future, so Antarctica offers the perfect place to study. Its receding glaciers and collapsing ice shelves. Its receding glaciers, collapsing ice shelves will tell us how real the threat of global warming is. Thus, the study of the region can be very useful to us. It can help us to learn from our mistakes.